are in a budget crisis because of the state. The state of New Hampshire has sent more money back to the city of Manchester, 11 million by way of rooms and meals tax, and more money than ever for education. We have a declining enrollment in our schools, and tough decisions need to be made. And these aldermen were put here, in this building, in these seats, to make those decisions. And they've opted not to. Thank God for Chrissy Cantor. And Ed Sapienza, who are the only two currently holding the line. We need to make sure all of the aldermen are held accountable because they all vowed to uphold the tax cap unless there was an emergency. An emergency is not happening in this city currently. There is no reason to override this tax cap. And if they declare an emergency, they need to declare an emergency and make us know what that emergency is. And being over budget is not an emergency, it's lack of leadership. And we need to have leadership from this office tonight, and they need to show the people that they're doing the job that they vowed to do. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
You want to pass it to?
Here you go.
State rep.
Hello.
Speakers where you want it to go.
Ooh.
Oh.
This way?
Hello. Well, she said it all, but I'll add one more thing. I was doing a little research into school funding. Utah does it for half the price that we do, and they have just as good of outcomes. So why do we have to spend so much? They want to wrap 2 Dodge Sprinters because they're plain white. Is that a priority, or is that a nice to have kind of thing? When we're in this kind of situation where we're spending millions that we don't need to be, we need to cut out the wasteful spending. That's it.
Thank you, John, State Rep. What do you have to say, Paul?
Listen, one thing that's important for all of us also is our seniors.
Amen.
You turn around, you look at a 2.8% increase in Social Security benefits this year. When you turn around, you add this 12% that they're going to try to pass, along with 10% went up for medications. We're already in the negative plus numbers, double digits. We need to protect the tax cap, especially for the seniors, those that are low income, and protect the middle class as well. So as I say, protect the tax cap, please.
Woo! Woo! Hey, Troy, what do you have to say?
I'll keep it simple. Vote no on the Burkish budget.
What'd you say?
Say it again.
Keep it simple. Vote no on the Burkish budget.
Say it again. Say it again.
Vote no on the Burkish budget.
All right, who's next? Oh, Rich Gerard. Come on, let's go.
Rich never
What do you
has
have to
anything
say?
but he will right now.
Rick is a peaceful demonstrator.
Hello. I don't even know where to start, except to say
Yeah.
that it's pretty clear we have been lied to. Right? From the mayor who said he would never support a tax cap override but is negotiating one, to Republicans and Democrats who said they would never support an override of the tax cap and have decided to do it anyway. So let's put a few things out there. One, they say if you don't have an override, the police won't get a raise. Do you know the mayor put $1.7 million in the budget for police raises? I don't know how that math works. Do you? They say if you don't have an override, you're going to have layoffs. Do you know the mayor's budget just doesn't fill vacancies? It doesn't lay anybody off. In fact, it carries over $1.5 million worth of COVID positions that were started during COVID. And that's just on the city side. I don't know how many are left, but the schools, they only have $3.2 million worth of positions that they started with COVID money. How about that?
One is too many.
Yeah, one is too many. I agree with that, Paul. They tell you that we need to offset the non-tax revenues, which is true, but only if you want to increase spending. So let me tell you what's going to happen. Whatever the tax cap override is going to be, they're going to tell you they cut the tax rate. And they're going to tell you they cut the tax rate because they're using $5.6 billion worth of new value on the tax base. So they're comparing their tax rate on a base with $19 billion to the current tax rate with a base of $13.3 billion. How many of you remember, if you want to compare two numbers with different denominators, you have to what? Find a common denominator. How they even still teach that in Manchester schools, but look what's going on there.
Yeah.
Calculators, exactly.
Cell phones.
So look, I'll wrap it up by saying this. I was the budget director in this city after the city lost over $1 billion on its tax base. 22% decrease in the tax base from 1988 to 1995. Do you think that hurt? Do you think the mayor and the board of aldermen were going to the people and saying we need a double-digit tax increase because we got a lousy tax base? No. It took 4 years for taxes to go up by as much as they're talking about raising them now. I ought to know, I did 3 budgets. And those 3 budgets didn't raise taxes by 10% or 12%, they raised them maybe by 3. And they did all of that while revenues were crashing because people weren't paying their taxes, their homes were being taken away, and abatements were going out the window like Pez dispenser candy. So the fact of the matter is, in Manchester, where the Board of Mayor and Aldermen has used one-time revenues and false revenues from the schools to avoid cuts required by the tax cap over the last 3 years, while they've done that, they've spent out of control. Do you have a tax-based problem in this city? No, you don't. Do you have a revenue problem in this city when they're not making it up? No, you don't. Do you have a spending problem in this city?
Yes, we do.
That's what needs to be shut down. And is it gonna pinch in a couple places? You know, I'm probably like many of you who, well, maybe not. I don't know.
We're pinching
I
our wallets.
put on a few pounds in recent years, and I can tell you, things pinch in places that aren't comfortable. But when you go on a diet, that's a different kind of pinch, but it's the kind of pinch that leads you to where you need to be, and that's what needs to be done in the city of Manchester. And folks, whether it's the mayor, or it's a Democratic alderman, or a Republican alderman, hold them responsible at the next election for overriding the tax cap. Here's the truth. If Jay Rouet and the 5 Republican aldermen simply stood by their promises, the mayor's budget by default would go in. There wouldn't be enough votes to override the tax cap. And guess what? We'd make it through a difficult budget, and we'd be okay on the other side, especially if the Board of Mayor and Aldermen did what it needed to do to go back and start saying, do we really need all these COVID positions? Do we really need all of this money when we've got all of these vacancies? Do we really need to fill in the blank, fund millions of dollars for empty buses? No. Okay, those are the questions they need to ask. It's a spending problem, and it's about time we put it to bed.
Thank you.
Little Infantines up next. Here you go.
You just like making fun of me, that's all.
No, I love you.
You know when you were a kid and you like went to the grocery store and you said, Mom, I want this, or Dad, I want this, and what they do, they taught you a lesson. You can't have everything you want when you want it.
That's right.
Well, some of these aldermen don't get that. Okay, Dan O'Neill, Dirty Dan always says, hey, it's only a cup of coffee. It's only a cup of coffee a week. Well, you know what? It adds up to a lot of cup of coffees. And not everybody here can afford that. We have people on senior citizens, on fixed incomes, they can't afford it. You have to think about everybody, not just about the union people that give you the money to run your campaigns. Right? We all have to cut our expenses at times. Who's paying $4 a gallon for gasoline? We all are. What does that mean? That means we don't have as much money for other things. They need to live within the means. Does anyone here trust the school board? I don't. Oh my God, $60 million. $60 million shows up somewhere. Where does that show up from? They always call it poor mouth, and all of a sudden you have the money. Who is it who made the decision not to float the bond that the alderman told him to do? Who decided there was a better way to do it? Did someone break the law when they did that? I don't know.
Hey, Eric.
Why you tear down a perfectly good school? Now, let's take the street here. Let's take the street here. Is there anything wrong with Hanover Street?
Hanover looks beautiful.
You know, what, do we need to take away parking spaces? It's already one of the nicest streets in the city. Why don't you find another street and fix that up? So why don't we get real here and take care of the citizens, all of them, not just the special interest groups. Now, I got some bad news for you. I've already been told the fix is in, and a couple of the Republicans are going to vote with the Democrats. They're going to make some changes to their budget. So we're going to know in a couple hours which one of us which of the aldermen or women are no longer Republicans. We're going to know which one of them lied in their campaign promises to keep the taxes down.
Ooh.
Okay? So we're going to see in a couple hours.
Uphold the tax cap! Uphold the tax cap! Uphold the tax cap! Oh, Austin!
Alright, well, we're up against it right here. Uphold the tax cap. Some of you know who I am. I was asked to speak tonight as my alderman goes by. Hopefully you uphold the tax cap, but I doubt it.
Uphold the tax cap!
Uphold the tax cap!
Uphold the tax cap!
I'm just going to say this. I prepared way more than I ever needed to say, but I'm just going to say this. We're here tonight because limits matter. The tax cap matters, and promises matter. Okay? Those who say that defending the tax cap makes us what? Anti-kid, anti-police, anti-Manchester. I say to them, that's just, I will not stand for the morally bankrupt arguments. Okay? The people of Manchester, we matter. We matter. And we are here because we love Manchester, not because we are anti-anything. We love this city. And what matters more than anything is everybody that's in there tonight promised to uphold the tax cap. And that tells me one of two things if they're going to break it tonight. Either they came to elected office not knowing the responsibility they were asking for, or they made a promise knowing they were going to break it to you anyway. So thank God for Christy Cantor, and thank God for Ed Sapienza. The two reasonable people left in this city, apparently. But I'll say this, no matter what happens tonight, hold them accountable. If the leaders are not in the room to reform Manchester, then we need to find new leaders. This is not simply about cutting taxes. This is about a reform needed in this city, and we know how to do it. The mills in this city used to be a hub of the world, and then they died and they went to sleep, and we revived them and reformed them. We know how to do that. So they're out here tonight. We need to find people of integrity and people of honor and people of principle to run for office that will uphold the tax cap. Defend the line tonight. Hold the line tonight. No tax cap override.
Hello? Hello, everybody. My name is Jose Marte, and I'm running for state representative in Ward 9. My alderman, Jim Burkish, earns as his pension every year $159K. How much do you guys get? He votes like he's Donald Trump. He's a billionaire, but he's not. This is why it's careless on his part, the way that he votes. He wants to override it because he also receives a COLA, which is the cost of living adjustment every year. He doesn't just receive $159K, it also goes up every single year as the cost of living goes. This is why he's voting to increase the tax cap.